It's time to focus on seniors with Helping Seniors TV. The television show designed to make you aware of senior issues and needs, as well as to acquaint you with the resources available to help you age in place and with dignity. Now, here's your host, Joe Steckler.
I'm Joe Steckler, and welcome to Helping Seniors, the television arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard County. Our show is designed to provide you with information on how to develop your own aging and care plans. Our topic today is Veterans Affairs, Brevard County. And joining me is Dennis Vannorsdall, Veterans Services Officer for Brevard County. Welcome, Dennis.
Good morning. Glad to be here, Joe. Thanks for having me.
It should be me thanking you for coming on this show. Before we did the show, folks, I told Dennis that in over 400 television shows I've done since 2007 here in Brevard County, we have never had a show on Veterans Affairs. And since I'm a veteran dentist of 38 years and know that we have, according to your statistics, 67,000 veterans in Brevard County, the fact that I've neglected the veterans that year, that long, to me serves as a personal insult to my fellow veterans. I think we could do better. And that's one of the reasons that I feel so strongly about all these shows and being able to provide information on how to connect with services. If people don't know about what you do, and just in our pre-show conversation, you made me aware of 2 or 3 things that, even though I served 38 years, have worked with Veterans Affairs for 25 years, I wasn't aware of some of the things you told me. And if I don't know about it and I'm connected with it, how do we expect the 67,000 veterans, but more than that, the spouses of the 67,000 veterans? You say veterans, you're not including the wives that live here that had spouses in the military, are you?
No, I'm at the 67,000 is just the veterans that have served on active duty. That doesn't include the active duty members that serve here in Brevard County. That's just those that have an active or a DD Form 214 on file with the Department of Veteran Affairs. When you throw in the family members, you're talking another 180,000 survivors and dependents that are eligible for VA benefits.
That is amazing. You know, we say that we have roughly 245,000 people out of the 540,000 in Brevard County that are 50 or older. But you've thrown another statistic in there that approaches 200,000 people.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brevard County is the 7th largest county, veteran population county in the state of Florida. In the state of Florida, there's 1.5 million veterans total, and we're the 7th largest veteran population in the state of Florida. When you look at all the VA benefits, the financial benefits that come into Brevard County to those veterans, it's in excess of $500 million a year that comes into the county directly from the Department of Veteran Affairs to assist veterans and their family members.
Can you just explain what some of those benefits are, Dennis?
Sure. So the most common benefit that veterans are aware of is disability compensation. And those are for injuries or illnesses that are the result of their military service, commonly referred to as a service-connected disability. Another type of benefit that veterans are entitled to is what's called a non-service-connected pension. And pension is dependent on the income needs of the veteran or their family members, survivors. If they're below an income threshold determined by the VA and their net worth is below that threshold, then they can be entitled to a monthly veterans pension. And then there's a whole array of other benefits that veterans are eligible for, to include home loan guarantees, education assistance for disabled veterans, for family members of permanently and total disabled veterans. There's just a whole slew of veterans benefits that are available out there to veterans and their survivors. Our job as veteran service officers for Brevard County is to ensure that our veterans have access to those benefits that their service has entitled them to.
Okay, I jumped the gun I should have said, first of all, where are you located, Dennis?
Yeah, so our office is in the Viera Government Complex out in Viera. We're in Building B, Suite 102. There's myself and 3 others that work in the Veteran Services Office. 3 of us are Veteran Service Officers, and then we have an administrative assistant that helps us with all the paperwork, answering phone, and welcoming our clients into the office.
You know, I have to compliment your person that answers the telephone.
Yeah, Donna's great.
She does a great job.
She's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Did she used to work in another part of the Housing and Service Department out there?
She did. Yeah, she was an administrative assistant. She used to answer the main line in the Housing and Human Services.
I thought I recognized that voice. Yes.
Yeah, she's been there for, I think, about 12 years.
Yeah.
She's been with us for almost 3 years now.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of complaints that come in about the Veterans Affairs. But, you know, the Veterans Affairs, the clinic that we have here in Brevard County, I think is probably one of the most highly regarded in the entire VA system.
I would agree. We get very few complaints about the Veterans Clinic at in Viera. In fact, veterans travel from from other counties just to go to our clinic because of the level of care that they receive there. Now, the Orlando VA Clinic has just opened up a wonderful new facility at Lake Nona. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to go out there, but I would encourage any veteran that is enrolled in the Department of Veteran Affairs healthcare system to drive out to the Lake Nona facility and see what that hospital looks like. It will make you, I walked through there a week and a half ago for the first time, and it made me proud to be a veteran, to see how well our country is willing to invest to take care of our veterans. It's a great facility, and it's going to serve veterans in Central Florida for another 100 years.
But, you know, you say that. I just read a report in Florida Today, roughly a week ago, I think it was in USA Today, that expressed a tremendous shortage of doctors in the VA system right now. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Our Viera Clinic is, they're included in that. They have a hard time keeping doctors on the rolls, for whatever reason, but I know there is a hard recruiting campaign that the VA is doing to try to staff those the hospitals and the clinic as much as it can. And that's what's led to the delay in care for some veterans, is that they just don't have the staff. And the number of veterans that are now enrolled in the healthcare system with the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that, because I have a personal friend who was a surgeon, and he was in private practice here in Melbourne. And when you wrapped up all the insurance a man had to pay, all the paperwork he had to do to qualify for Medicare, and do all the stuff he had to do, he took a job with the VA clinic over in Orlando. And he drove from Satellite Beach to Orlando every day. And I think he still does it. But he was much happier working for the VA. So it's kind of an amazing thing to me that with all the restrictions and problems that doctors have now with insurance and everything else, that they wouldn't clamor to VA, because I would suspect that the VA pays pretty well.
They do pay fairly well, and then they also will offset some student loans also. So if there's medical professionals out there that are interested in working for the VA, I can put them in contact with the recruiting service that are looking for those doctors. And then they can go to usajobs.com, and all those positions are advertised. But if you're a medical professional and you're interested in taking care of veterans, it's probably something that they should look into.
You have my permission on my television show to look right at that camera and recruit as hard as you want to get good doctors come to the VA does.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They do a great job. Now, let me get one. I don't work for the Department of Veteran Affairs. I'm a veteran advocate that assists veterans with securing their VA benefits. And then we also will work with veterans if they have issues with the VA hospital or clinic. We'll work with the patient advocate over there in the clinic. We'll work with the Orlando VA Medical Center to see if we can help them with whatever issue that they're having, getting the care that they need. So we're really an advocate for veterans. We're not part of the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Okay. There's 2 areas I want to touch on. One is the VA aid and attendance, and the other is something you and I talked about. Because what I did, folks, was I posed a question to Dennis. I said, is it possible for somebody to qualify for the VA care, hospital care, clinic care, even if they didn't have a service-connected disability when they got out of the military? And you gave a very enlightening answer. Can you tell our viewing audience what you told me? Describe the situation to where some people simply just don't realize that just a foot in a door someplace opens up a lot of things.
Sure. So to enroll in the VA healthcare system, you don't have to have a service-connected disability. There's eight different categories of patients that are allowed to enroll in the VA healthcare system. One being somebody that was injured while they're in the service. They can be treated at the VA clinic. They're enrolled.
Okay.
And then it goes through an array of other qualifying factors, 8 being the most difficult to get in, and that's where a veteran would be over the income threshold, but agree to pay copays. The VA could let them enroll in the VA healthcare system. And what many folks don't realize is that if you're a veteran and you're enrolled in the VA healthcare system, you have met all the requirements for the Affordable Care Act. You don't need any other health insurance. So, and there's no enrollment fee. So if there's a veteran out there that's having challenges with healthcare, they should check out the VA clinic or the VA hospital. And
but when you're a veteran, are we talking veterans that did they have to serve in Vietnam or Iraq or something like that, or does the same thing apply to a veteran that never left the United States?
Yeah, as long as they. It depends on when they served, because the law changed for some veterans. So if they served after 1980, they generally had to do at least 2 years of active duty time to enroll in the VA healthcare system. If they were in the service prior to 1980, I think the timeline is much smaller. So all our World War II, Korean War veterans, Vietnam era veterans, they're eligible to enroll in the VA healthcare system, whether they served in those theaters of war or not.
So for many years, when people call me and ask me about benefits, I know about aid and attendance. I know the general guidelines. I work with the VA hospital and clinic and everything over in Gulfport, Mississippi when I come out of the Navy retirement home. I work with the VA people down at headquarters in Tampa. I did a lot of things. But still, I realize now how little I truly knew about the functioning of the VA. So when Kay Kaiser, our information specialist, calls me about a question with VA, I always tell her what I said to other people. I know a little bit about it. I know enough about it to know that I can't answer your question. And there's 2 or 3 people out at the government complex in Viera that can answer your question. And because somebody has told you that you don't qualify for something, you owe it to yourself to go out and see those people, because the VA system works differently than Medicaid, Medicare, and all these other care systems. You have a little different set of rules, but I understand that those may be changing too.
Well, the law constantly changes. But what I tell veterans is, don't let anybody tell you that you don't qualify for a benefit. Let the VA tell you don't qualify for the benefit. Apply for the benefit that you think you're entitled to, and let the VA say let the VA deny your claim, because then that starts a whole appeals process to where you can meet in front of a law judge and advocate for your cause. And there's veteran service officers that will assist you with that advocacy. You mentioned aid and attendance. Aid and attendance is an add-on to a widow's pension or a non-service connected veteran's pension, or to a disabled veteran that's receiving monthly compensation. So it's an additional benefit that's on top of a benefit that they've already earned.
Explain that a little bit more for Dennis, because I think Kay and I have turned up people by calling our office, and we had one case where there was a married couple, and they're I may be a couple dollars wrong, but I'm pretty close. Their joint income for the 2 of them was $736 a month, and they got $350 in food stamps. They did not know that they were eligible for aid and attendance. And I think once they got through your people out there, they were getting something like close to $1,400 more on top of the $736. To me, the ability for that couple at their age to get an additional $1,400 a month in income was like hitting the Publisher's Guide $1 million bonus jackpot.
Sure.
And there are a lot of people. What is frightening to me, though, is the number that you mentioned in the first part of the show about the number of women that could be eligible for these benefits that simply don't know about it. And that's why we feel so strongly at the board of directors about helping seniors about our media outreach program. This television show, the radio show, Spotlight Magazine, Senior Scene, Ebony News Today, Hometown News. We write about these things. We promote these things with our newsletter. But all your services, everything you do, it can help this many people when it could help that many if more people know about it.
Absolutely. Let me tell you a short story. We had a veteran come into our office 2 weeks ago, and he had received a letter from the Social Security office that he may be entitled to other benefits from the Department of Veteran Affairs. And this form had to be signed by somebody saying that he went and talked to somebody about his benefits.
Okay.
So he came into our office. I sat down, talked with him. I asked him, when did you serve? He's a Korean War veteran. Didn't serve in Korea, but he served during wartime. So he's eligible for a non-service connected pension. I asked him how much money he was getting in Social Security. He was getting $738 a month. He was getting another $160 for his wife, Social Security disability. That was their total income. That was it. We filled out the paperwork. We sent it to the VA. And then I just happened to check on the status of his claim to make sure that they had received it. And the VA had already approved it. And today he got another $700 deposited into his account that he wasn't expecting. All because he didn't know he was entitled to the benefit, but somebody else some other thing prompted him to come into our office. And we see that time and time again where veterans and survivors just aren't aware of the benefits that they're entitled to.
Okay, let me ask a theoretical question then.
Sure.
When I retired, after serving all my time in 6 submarines, I had severe hearing loss. Like a dummy, I answered the questions truthfully and honestly in a soundproof room. Of course, in the soundproof room, I could hear a lot better than I could just out talking to people. And so when I retired, they gave me a 10% disability. But that 10% disability allows me to deduct roughly $120 a month from my service pension, so I don't have to pay tax on that. You keep mentioning pension. What is the relationship between a type of benefit I get by virtue of the fact that I'm a retired veteran and what you're talking about, veterans that qualify for pensions? I don't actually get money, but you're saying other people do get money.
Yeah, so you're in a unique situation because you're a retired veteran, you have a service-connected disability, and your retirement is offset, like you explained, on that $129 a month. You don't pay tax on your retirement.
Right.
But the law changed in 2000 to where veterans that are service-connected that are more than 50% service-connected and retired, they can receive both. They receive their retirement and they receive their full disability. So if you were to be service-connected another 40%, you would not, your money would not be offset. You would get a separate check from the Department of Veteran Affairs. So your disability is service-connected, has nothing to do with your income whatsoever.
Right.
I imagine you were a lot younger when you got that service connection when you retired out of the Navy.
Yes, so, I wish I was that age again.
So what I would tell somebody in your situation is, let's get your hearing reevaluated, and then let's send that into the VA to see if your disability compensation could be increased. And I suspect I've been doing this for 2 years now. I'd served 30 years in the Air Force myself, but I've seen enough veterans come in with hearing loss claims that I would suspect your disability would be increased. And there's probably some disabilities that you're not aware of that could be secondary to your hearing loss.
See?
Yeah.
But I'm in position I've been in. I get more concerned about trying to do programs like this, trying to do things to help other people understand what they can do better. Sometimes we tend to forget about what we can do better to help ourselves.
Sure.
But I will take you up on an offer, and I will come out in the next couple of weeks, and I will find out what I'm eligible for, because I have found, Dennis, that if I can relate some of these things to my own personal experience, it helps me explain to other people what some of their own challenges are and finding out how they can improve their own lot in life.
Sure.
And that's really, I think that's really why the VA exists. It was designed to help. I think one of the first things the VA really came about after World War I, when so many men were gassed in the trenches. Most of the VA hospitals were filled with gas cases. Are you aware of that?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. I lived in a place called Madisonville, Kentucky, and Dawson Springs, Kentucky. I had a place over what they called Outwood. It was a huge VA hospital. It was filled with men that had been severely gassed with mustard and phosgene gas in World War I in the trenches. And I remember I was hitchhiking home one time when I was a young sailor. And two guys stopped and picked me up on a roadside up out near Louisville, Kentucky. And they gave me, it was about 4 a.m. in the morning. And they took me all the way to my hometown. And instead of going on a road over to Dawson Springs, they vectored off the road and took me right to my doorstep and dropped me right at my house at 6 o'clock in the morning. These two brothers had a brother that had been in the Outwood Springs VA hospital since the end of World War I. And this was in 1952.
Wow.
So, you know, in many respects, it's a small world. But I was looking at my questions here. You have a phone number that people can call you out there?
Sure. Our phone number is 321 area code 633-2012.
Yeah. Do you need an appointment?
You don't need an appointment. We prefer to do walk-ins only, but you know, if there's a special case or if it's a client that we've been working with numerous times, we'll schedule follow-on appointments. But generally, our clients can just walk in and be seen within, 10 to 15 minutes.
How about some of the older people, Dennis, that have to have van transportation or wheelchair bound? Do you prefer that they make an appointment or just come in?
Well, in those special cases, we'll make an appointment for them if they have special transportation needs or special needs. I'll usually, open up my calendar to see veterans that request an appointment. So it's not that we don't do appointments. We generally just take walk-ins, but, case by case, we will do appointments.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've been there for 2 years. Tell me about a case that you couldn't help.
A case that I couldn't help.
That you could not help.
Occasionally we'll have a veteran's case that he just doesn't have the documented proof in his service treatment records that his disability is service connected. Those are a long stretch if you just don't have any kind of documentation at all to support your claim.
But you don't find that very often.
We don't come across that very often. I mean, it does happen, but we've, each case is unique. We've had veterans that served in Vietnam. They didn't have their DD Form 214. They think they were
Right.
suffering from PTSD. There's nothing in their service treatment records. So you have to kind of build that claim to make sure that when it goes to the VA to be adjudicated, that there's a sound argument there that this veteran suffers from PTSD and that it's directly related to his service. So we'll build that case. If there's nothing in the veteran service treatment records, then we can, who did he serve with? Is there somebody that can provide a written testimony that the veteran suffered this
You all
illness?
go through all that and help them do that?
We'll help them from point A to point B until we think we have a good case.
Yours is one of the best guarded secrets in this county. Really, I'm serious. You know Bernie? The guy, Bernie Walters, he worked out there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Bernie goes to my church, and I see Bernie all the time. And for years, I knew Bernie walked out there, but I never really called Bernie that much. See, when I was working with the Alzheimer's Foundation, the people over there, built with Alzheimer's disease, I just didn't really make that connection that there were so many other services available. And we have just a minute left, but there's a VA nursing home over at Lake Nona, right?
There is.
Is that filled up already, or?
It is filled, but I mean, there's 7 state-run nursing homes also that you can that will accept veterans, and there are some openings in those state-run veteran nursing homes.
That's amazing. Do you help people get placed in a nursing home?
We don't help them get placed, but we put them in contact with the different nursing homes that will take them through that process.
Well, you say different nursing homes that take them through the process. What do you mean by that?
Well, there's 7 state-run veteran nursing homes that will take veterans and their family members that have service-connected disabilities.
Okay. Dennis, we're almost out of time. I just want to take the extra time here to say that I think we're going to have to schedule a follow-on show because there's so much more that needs to be said. So there's nothing wrong with doing a 2-part VA show. Thank you for being here, and I sure enjoyed having you. And I want to thank you for watching today's episode of Helping Seniors.